Welcome to another edition of Middle School Music with myself, Farhan Lalji, and my co-host, Dario Duet. Myself and Dario have a special guest today. We've got Olivier Robert-Murphy. Olivier is a friend of mine for now coming up close to 20 years, and he's been gracious enough to join us. Good morning, Olivier.
Good morning, Farron. By the
Uh,
way, it's Olivier Robert-Murphy.
Robert Murphy. Sorry, man. I always get confused because the French accent, I want to
Exactly.
break out.
I saw you try
I
to do a
tried.
French accent. It's okay.
Hey
It's
man,
good.
je suis Canadien. Je parle un petit peu de français, non?
Un petit
My
peu.
accent's okay. Come on. Don't give me too much
It's
slack
good.
already. You're on my podcast, buddy.
I promise to be nice. Okay.
Yeah, I don't trust you a bit. It's great to have you here, Olivier. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
making the time. And yeah, so this is our second interview that we're going to release on middle school music. Olivier, I wonder if you could just start off maybe telling people a little bit about yourself and your career and how you've gotten to where you are at Universal.
Okay, let's make it quick. So I'm Olivier Robert-Murphy. I'm a kid from south of France who spent 20 years there and then moved to London. I used to work for Procter & Gamble, where I was selling shampoo. You can't see me here, but maybe it's the result of the fact I have no more hair. And then I moved to the film industry, where as head of marketing at Universal Pictures International. And then I left to join the music industry. So I just summarized it. I've been now in UK for 25 years, and I'm a half Irish
And
as
what was
well.
the transition like from kind of like shampoo to media to music, and how did you kind of make those jumps?
The Procter & Gamble things I applied 6 times. When I was in my business school, the teacher said, "Don't worry, no one in this school ever enter P&G. They just recruit at super high level, top school." And I wasn't doing a top school. I'm pleased, by the way, I did LBS with you after that to get my revenge. So I applied 6 times, 6 different people, 6 different companies at P&G until it works because I wanted to prove this teacher that he was wrong, that it was possible to get in.
Hmm.
And also I took it as a new school. P&G by then it's very formatted. It's not me at all, but they teach me so much and they're paying me good money to teach me. So if I took it with a state of mind, I knew I was going to stay 2 to 3 years, and then leaving. So for me, it was another school.
And how did you, I mean, did you always want to go into media and music, or was that kind of,
Media, yes. I figured out very soon that working is not necessarily pleasant. So I decided to say, okay, if I want to work, then it's probably better if I work in something I like.
hmm.
And so media was the thing I liked. I was a big TV guy, watching TV all the time. So that's why I went to film and TV.
Yeah, and then the transition from the media side from a TV film into music, because you're quite passionate about the music industry. Did that kind of just fall in your lap, or was that something also that you were quite kind of
Uh,
dedicated towards?
Music is interesting. Actually, I do believe in destiny.
Hmm.
I I'm a half. I find I did this DNA test, and I found out I'm 40% Irish, I think, and 30% Spanish, which I had no idea. And I happen to live in London and to speak from you here from my second house in Spain, which I didn't know. So it's just it reflects what I am. In terms of music, it's a bit of the same thing. If I look back, when I was a student in Paris, I had zero money. So I was working by night as a limo driver. And I drove all around Paris for bigger stars for 3 years, all night. And during the day, I was going to school, and night, I was sleeping in the car waiting for stars to party. And yeah, I trained me. I realized that I learned the music industry from the real side, the artist side. And when I joined, for me, it was quite natural.
And did you kind of like say, okay, I want to go into there, or was that something from Universal in the media side that you transition more
It
easily?
was, as everything, opportunity comes through your network.
Hmm.
And I was in Universal Pictures, and I left, and I was set up my own company because once in a while you have to set up your own company. I'm not telling that to you, better than anyone else.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and then after a while I was thinking, okay, it's good not to have a boss, but the clients are bosses. So actually, let me have only one boss and go back to corporate. And I went to corporate, and I saw through my network, I heard about this. I was looking in media, and I heard about this position in Universal Music. It was to launch the audiovisual concert, audiovisual business, live concert. That's where I started.
I want to talk about, you mentioned Destiny kind of and networks in the music industry. If you had to talk to a set of maybe young people that want to break into the industry today, I mean, the landscape has very much changed. Even when I was and still am interested in the industry, you know, where traditionally it was just labels, and now you have DSPs, and you don't really know what to do. Do you have any advice on somebody that would want to break into the business side of the industry?
Sure. It's a question I've been asked regularly at London Business School or Oxford University. And what I could tell you is the music creation has been existing for 120 years, forever. 120 years, actually, is the age of Dutch gramophone, one of the label of Universal. What I want to tell you is that always exists. And it's very interesting because we talked a lot about the big stars, but the big stars, before to be big stars, they were small stars. If I spoke to you about Lou Murphy, who is my daughter, you know, she just released her song now. She finished her studies, but now she wants to be an artist. She just does it. And this side of creation, production, writing, etc., will always exist. And you always have. That's why A&R is so key. I mean, at Universal Music, the biggest investment we make is into this. It's about finding the next big star, developing it. Something they don't know as well. If I look in 2011, to clear a track, you had to ask 3 people on average, right? You want to use a track on an ad, you have to speak to 3 people. Likely the writer, the performers, the publishers, you know, someone who wrote the lyrics. If you do it, if I look at last year and you look at the top 100 songs in UK, on average, you will have to ask 6 people. Wow. Why that? Because you live in a world of collaboration. Now people get inspired by another song, etc. And this world of collaboration is what I would say to this kid, to go back to your questions. This creation, A&R, world of collaboration exists. And it's key to the music industry. It's the essence, it's the petrol of it. To extend to your question, music company were making money through physical, less, we agree, although in Japan it's still significant. Yeah. Digital, a lot more, we're seeing it, subscription, etc. And the rest being non-recurring income, working with brands, working with live business, etc., etc. That's the first layer, music company. You go second layer, you have the partners, the Spotify, the Deezer, etc., who also are here to. It's more a D2C relationship, but what is interesting in the music industry is that the music company has a direct-to-consumer relationship. Then the second layer, the distributors, if I could call them like this, I prefer to call them partners, the Spotify, etc., like Apple Music, but also have a D2C relationship. And then you have a third layer for me, which is very important, it's the live business. Mm-hmm. I'm hearing you have a moment in COVID-19 period is not ideal, but it will be back for sure. Mm-hmm. So 3 different gates of entries. Music industry has been existing forever. It will be exist forever. 98% of the people love or like music.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, go ahead, Dorian.
Sorry. I guess just something which kind of piqued my interest there is you talk about how this landscape has changed, and then you've got platforms such as TikTok, which have emerged where people tend to perceive or predict that it's almost going to disrupt the music industry further than what DSPs did back in the 10s. I don't know if you have a thought or opinion on that, and you know, you mentioned A&R and the people involved. Do the likes of TikTok add another element to that, and or refine the process to make it simpler, or if anything, complicated?
Your question is good, but we could make it larger.
Yeah.
100 years ago, there was one new media every 10 years, maybe. 50 years ago, It was probably every month. Today it's every day. So TikTok is one. So the velocity of media have massively transformed over the years. What is interesting is when you mention TikTok is one of the platforms that managed to get through, but there are hundreds being launched. TikTok is interesting. I'm actually a big a user of TikTok. I pride myself to have a video of more than 500,000 views.
Oh,
But I've, if I think Triller, Triller, who kind of the same, I think for me is the next TikTok, Triller. What is interesting with Triller is that immediately they understand the power of working with artists. So you will see a lot of, if you look at TikTok, it's more UGC content and people dancing, good-looking people, by the way, sometimes dancing, and or it's a builder telling you what to do and you have a good laugh. But a Triller, if you skip through the thing, it's mostly very famous artists sharing something, a song, meaningful content. So different angle, but both of them as the same, and that's why I go back to your question. They're here to help us discover talent.
Gotcha. So talking about talent and Triller, who are you kind of like interested in? Who are you listening to? You mentioned your daughter's an emerging artist, Lou Murphy, as well. So it's interesting. I wonder if you could talk about, kind of that relationship with music over that period of time, kind of seeing new platforms and seeing new emerging artists, but also seeing your daughter kind of in the music industry now as well. Who are you listening to, and who have you discovered, or who are you rediscovered and listening to now?
Sure, there's two answers in your questions. I'm going to answer the first part, which is the platform and the artist and how it works. If I go back 20 years ago and let's take Katy Perry was releasing a song, it would be on radio. That would be the marketing. Today, if Katy Perry released a song over a period of 6 weeks, she would be providing Snapchat filters, Instagram stories. She will be TikTok dance move, or you sing along with her. Every platform, and let's say there are 50 of them, 50 main one, you will create dedicated content for this platform.
Right.
And this different point of entry will make the repetition necessary in every repetition to your audience necessary for the success of a song. Now, second part of your question, what do I listen to? I'm sorry, I'm an old gear, and I've been trained to the like of British music in the 80s, Tier 4 Fears, Prefab Sprouts, Shade, Take Me By, all of it. And I still listen to this. If I have to bet on to give you a scoop, there's a new kid. I remember when at school, sometimes people were asking me, what's the next big star? Let me put a bet. Alexander 23. Check him out. I think he's not famous yet, but he will be.
I don't know if people know this, but you actually kind of gave me the heads up to Bieber as well in the late kind of 2000s before Bieber even had like Baby out. So this is definitely somebody you should listen to when it comes to kind of new artists coming out.
But it makes me think, you probably saw in the press release Lego as a partnership between Universal Music and us. I just explained that the music I've been listening to is music of the 80s, and this culture made who I am today. Yeah. And I don't know who you are, but looking at you, maybe you're probably part of the Eminem generation.
Oh, he called you right on.
Bingo.
He is an Eminem stan, so yes, you've got him nailed.
And that made you what you are. What the Lego, because you were asking me off record before, the Lego relationship is exactly that. In 10 years, 15 years, I want kids to say what generation you were. Not the Rolling Stone, not the Sex Pistols, no Eminem, no the British pop music. I'm from the Lego music generation.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah, that's a really kind of long-term vision, right? And I guess kind of having kind of been in the industry for so long, you've seen it evolve over that time. And I know you're kind of teaching now at Oxford as well. How are you enjoying kind of the teaching piece? And you mentioned kind of students coming up to you and talking to you about music and how to get in there and stuff. How's it gone from being an executive to being an executive plus a teacher? now as well.
So when you teach is very good. The part I prefer is when I talk. The part is where I'm not enjoying so much is the questions, because not English not being my first language, it takes me first 5 minutes to understand the questions. They're very sharp people, very, very sharp. And when they ask you a question, you said, why do they ask me this? And in fact, it's because they're already there when you still have a back. That's the part I like, I have to be honest. So I find it not only interesting, I find it fascinating. And I also pick on students, I will say regularly, with my staff, and we help them.
Very cool. And Olivier, is there anything else you want to promote, or maybe where people can find out more about you? Maybe kind of telling people your TikTok handle, if you want more than the 500,000 kind of views on your existing TikToks, or anything else. Where can people find you? Where can they learn more about you and what you're up to?
The best is LinkedIn. Is where I love to post. I post every 2 days on LinkedIn. I tell stories. I explain about what's the new world of marketing as it has totally transformed. People still talk about the 4 Ps. I think this is long gone. And so if you want to know more, follow me on LinkedIn and you will see. And but the best way to know about anything I do is to listen to your podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. On that note, I don't think it can get any better than that. So thank you for that mic drop moment, Olivier. Again, this has been Middle School Music with Farhan and Dario, and our good guest, who it's been a pleasure to host and talk to, Olivier Robert-Murphy. So Olivier.
Thank you, Farhan. Thank you, Dario. Good
Yeah,
talk to you.
thanks so much.
Can I listen to